If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
All right, so you got to be right on the microphone right there.
Got to be on the mic?
Yeah,
all right.
Like you're singing, like you're Diana Ross back in the day. And then here's the deal. I'm going to say...
Let me channel Diana Ross first.
You got it?
Got it.
Okay. So Ron's in Spain.
Okay.
You're Ed Ewing. You're filling in. I'm Don O'Neill back from Ireland, where I'm the only guy that toured the Guinness facility. Didn't have a Guinness, but another story for another day.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to do the open. When I point to you, you look at that camera over there and you say, live from the you say live, it's got to be loud, and you point at that camera and you say live from the Les Schwab studios. Try it.
Live from the Les Schwab.
It's got to be more, because Les Schwab's listening. Live from the Les Schwab studios.
But he never gave me any free beef.
Here we go. All right,
I never got the free beef.
They don't do the free beef anymore.
They don't do the free beef anymore.
All right, you guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Ron and Don Show. Don is not here today. No, Don is here today. He's back from Ireland. Ron's in Spain. Ed Ewing is filling in. And Ed, where are we right now?
We're in Freelard. It's kind of Freelard, right?
Come on, you got to do live from the Les Schwab studios. You got to work in the advertiser because they're paying for this show.
I'm still mad I didn't get my free beef.
Yeah.
All right.
What is Freelard?
Freelard's the space between Ballard and Fremont.
Oh.
Freelard.
Can they hear you, Matt, off the mic, or are you just chatting and we can't hear you?
This is going to make it, right?
All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. Hey, you guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Ron and Don Show, and we are
live at the Les Schwab studios.
Hey, coming up here, Ed Ewing is here today, and you probably know Ed Ewing. He's been on the show before from the Major Taylor Project and also from Bike Works. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today as you're filling in. Ron's over in Spain with his lovely girlfriend. He'll be back in a couple weeks. By the way, Jim Dever from Evening Magazine is doing something new. You were just asking me off the mic, what happened to Kim Holcomb?
Yeah.
They're doing something together called the Upper Lefters.
I like it.
Yeah. So, and it's not, somebody said, is that your politics to the left? No, we're the upper lefters, in Washington.
Okay.
So I think they're doing really cool stuff like Evening Magazine type things.
Yeah.
But I think they're doing it on the net and owning that material right now.
I like those.
Which everybody is.
I like them.
Anyway, hey, before we get going, we'll get to the topic wheel here in a moment. I'm very excited. You just turned 60.
I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the wisdom that you've learned in your last 60 years.
This is going to be a very short
I'm at 58, so I'm knocking on your door.
A very short interview.
And I know you just had a really big party, so we're going to talk about that. And before we get to that, though, let's talk about Bike Works, the Major Taylor Project, and let's start there, because I know you from the Major Taylor Project. Why don't you explain to everyone in the Ron and Don Nation what it is, what you guys do, and what it's about? Because you've been a big part of this for a long time, and who was Major Taylor in the first place?
I appreciate you asking. Major Taylor was the first African-American world champion cyclist back in the turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s. And the Major Taylor Project is named in his spirit. And there's a lot of Major Taylor cycling groups across the country. There's Major Taylor New York, Chicago, Seattle, LA, Minnesota. The leader of the Minnesota chapter actually started me bike racing along with my dad. The guy just turned 84. Wow. And just competed in the senior games in Iowa in a time trial. So the spirit of Major Taylor lives on. It inspires a lot of new cyclists of color, plus a lot of old cyclists who have been doing it for a while. I consider myself an old cyclist now.
Yeah.
So the initiative is named in his spirit. It started at Cascade Bicycle Club in 2007, along with two other doctors, Dr. Rayburn Lewis and Dr. John Vassell. And Ron Sims was a huge help in that effort of just launching this. And it was a conversation with Cascade Bicycle Club at that time where the organization looked at their membership, looked at staff, looked at the programs that the communities that serve the community, and really had an honest moment of, boy, we're pretty much serving only white cyclists.
Yeah.
And so the initiative started out to really reach youth of color in South Seattle Seattle's a very beautiful area. It's also a very segregated area by geography. So the idea was to embed this initiative in schools that served predominantly youth of color, and not to teach them how to bike. The bike was just the convener, but to really convene youth and adults and have conversations about, what do you want to do in your life? What do you need? And how can the bicycle support that or help that? And then that expanded into community work and community development work as well, like in White Center or SeaTac or Rainier Valley. And so I was there running the Major Taylor Project from 2007 till 2017. When I started the initiative, after school bike initiative was in 2 schools. And then when I left, it was in 18 schools.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing between Seattle and Tacoma and Puyallup.
Yeah. And what happens with these kids? Because I will ride around the city every once in a while, and I'll see a big group of young kids, and a lot of kids of color. And then I'll see some of them have jerseys on that say the Major Taylor Project. And my understanding is the idea at some point there's going to be some big ride that they're training for, right?
Yeah, it's how that happened was, and it's so cool because I just completed my 20th STP.
Yeah.
With this, in 2008 with this kid, now a grown ass man.
No way. Yeah.
And his name is Fabian. And Fabian asked me back in 2008, hey, Ed, I've heard that there is this ride where 10,000 people ride their bike to Portland. Can we do that? Do you think we can do that? And
This is back in the day.
This is back in 2008.
So Major Taylor wasn't doing the STP yet.
No.
So this is where the idea was born.
Yes.
We're all going to train, and we're all and by the hundreds, we're going to go ride the STP.
Yes, I looked at Fabian and was like, yes, of course. He's like, and
how am I going to do that?
But the thing about it, I had done it, and I knew how much the bike had changed my life.
Yeah.
And so I had that distinction. I was like, yeah, of course you can do this. So I'm like, yeah, let's break that down. How do you train for that? How do you prepare for that? And then he asked me, can we camp? And I was like, sure. And then can we camp? He was like, can we camp next to a pool?
Next to a pool.
And I was like, yeah, and I was completely pulling this out of my ass. I was like, I don't know if there's a pool.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, we got there. We camped day one, and it was right next to a pool. And it started this tradition. And what happened, there was the original 8, and Fabian was one of those. And he reached out, oh goodness, like 3 months ago and said, hey, Ed, I'm thinking about doing STP. And I'm like, if you do it, I'll do it. And so it was great to do this year's STP with him. He's now 30, just turned 31. Yeah. I just turned 60. So it was this really cool full circle moment.
Yeah.
And what was cool back in 2008 is those students went and they told their friends. And so the club just grew exponentially.
Yeah.
And then STP came like this rally, this cry. But the essence of the program was during the nice summer months, we ride after school. And during the winter, we switch to bike mechanics. There's STEM education that's involved. Not everybody can ride up a hill or wants to ride 200 miles, but a lot of students really connected with the mechanics and the STEM and the engineering about it. And it was a way for them to learn differently. Yeah. It was also a way for their teachers to connect differently with the students, because in the Northwest, you're going to have 5 or 10 faculty members at any school that are cyclists. So they got this initiative right away, what we're trying to do. It wasn't about the bike.
Yeah.
It was about connecting with students differently. And things like STP were just gravy. And when I left Cascade in 2016, I left and I came back for a stint. 75, the final year I was there, 75 students rode STP. And of the 75, 15 did it in one day.
And that year.
That year.
How many kids do you think through the Major Taylor Project have ridden that? And just so people know, it's over 200 miles. You start at the University of Washington. You ride to Portland. some of the kids that I talked to and interviewed, the only time they've ever been on the state of Washington was on a bike on the STP.
On STP.
Yeah, and so they don't join gangs after school. They join a club. They learn to build these bikes. They learn connection. They learn community. It gives them something to do. They're not alone. It is very cool to see a lot of white people from the Cascade Bicycle Club to start intermingling with these kids.
Sure.
Because I always tell people, don't tell me how other people feel until you've spent some time with those other people.
Right.
And when you talk about the communities that we're all locked into in our neighborhoods, and we certainly see that in real estate, it's a beautiful thing when you can get in proximity.
Yeah.
And when you get in proximity with somebody, it'll totally change your mind. And that's what the SPTP does. So for some of these kids, they'll ride one day to Centralia, I think. They camp, and then they'll finish the next. And then some of these kids go all the way. They go like 210 miles in one day.
In one day. And they're
and some of them aren't even clipped in.
No, they're 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And
in the heat of the summer, that is not an easy ride. Yeah.
And to your point about the diversity at Cascade, that was then. It's a different story now.
Is that right? Yeah.
The leadership under Lee Lambert, who's their current executive director. Lee's been there, I think it'll be 3 years or maybe 4 years this September.
Yeah.
Has done a fantastic job of really addressing diversity, equity, inclusion in the club. And you see that in staff.
Yeah.
And now you see that in ridership. And it's a really interesting balance. Before we came on, we were talking about how your neighborhood has diversified, and that's because of largely being driven by tech.
Totally.
And so you see that effect also in cycling, and Cascade has done a very excellent job of embracing and seeing that and supporting that. And so the STP that I just did in July, not only was it significantly younger, not because I'm getting older, but it's significantly younger.
You're a handsome black man, and you got.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
it's significantly more diverse, and
That's
so I think
cool.
the club is really doing a good job of that.
Good.
There's always room to develop and to grow, but if you peel that back, Major Taylor and Major Taylor Project was really the impetus for that.
Yeah.
And those conversations, that being in proximity, meeting others in the community, and it's not only up just to one organization, it really helped the club develop partnerships with other like-minded organizations.
Awesome.
and really address this,
Let's do this. So we talked about the Major Taylor Project. We're going to pay some bills, as they say. And then we come back, we're going to spin the topic wheel. We're going to do some topics because that's what Ron and I always do. And Ed's here filling in for Ron today, doing a great job. And then in our final segment, let's talk about BikeWorks, what BikeWorks is. And BikeWorks even intersects our business in real estate because there's a lot of people out there when you're culling through your things. And every once in a while, you run into a gem of a bike and you wonder, what should I do with this bike? And Ed has lots of ideas about what you could do with your bike through BikeWorks. So let's talk about that. And then I also want to talk about things that you learned. And you just had a really cool 60th birthday party where 80 people showed up. And I was telling you before the show, I was like, man, if I had a 60th birthday party, I don't know if 8 people would show up unless I brought in a taco truck.
9 for sure.
And you didn't bring in a taco truck,
I did.
But you did promise some libations.
I did. Yep.
All right, don't go anywhere. It's the Ron and Don Show. Ed Ewing filling in for Ron today, doing a bang-up job. We will see you on the other side of this.
If you find yourself dreaming about a new home, go from just a dream to the Dream Team. Schedule your time at ronanddonsitdown.com.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. And don't forget, when you need us, let's sit down. It's called Ron and Don Sit Down. And we can talk about your real estate, or we can talk about the Major Taylor Project. So Ed Ewing sitting down. In fact, Ed, I sat down with Ron and Don just for your 60th birthday. I also have a T-shirt for you, but I didn't bring it today. It's in my other truck.
My very first mug from anybody. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Anyway, hey, let's do this. You ready? Let's spin the topic wheel. And you ready? We got 4 topics. Let's nail these things. You ready? All right.
Wheel.
3, 2, 1, and
Topic
bam! Wheel. There we go with the topic wheel. and it's spinning,
Did I say
spinning,
big money,
spinning.
big money? Like on
No
Wheel of
whammies.
Fortune? No whammy?
No, I think you're right. I think on the Wheel of Fortune,
Big money.
It's big money.
Big money.
Yeah.
Okay.
No whammy. I think that's card sharks.
Non-profit, so the money's not big. So,
All right, here we go. Here we go. Topic number 1, and I sent you this story. And in this topic, it talks about the fact that women oftentimes get better sleep when they sleep with a dog than when they sleep with their boyfriend or their husband or their girlfriend or whoever it else is that they're sleeping with. Was it sleeping with their pets or sleeping with their dog? Do you remember?
I think it was pets.
Sleeping with your pets. You get a better night's sleep.
Yeah, because there's dogs and cat. Yeah, it was pets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pets.
I have to.
Ferrets.
I have to say, I
Bird.
dated a girl one time, and I'm gonna be careful telling this story. I dated a girl one time in Minnesota, and
Don't be dissing Minnesota.
She was very lovely, and I
right.
love Minnesota girls
All right.
because they are. But it was in the dead of winter. I went to see her.
Yeah.
We had met out here in Seattle. It's kind of one of those things. Maybe we'll have this long distance relationship.
Sure.
And I'll come see you on some weekends. So anyway, I got there.
Normal questions.
And when I walked in, there was 1, 2. There were 3 cats.
Oh,
there
boy.
were 3 cats.
Wow.
And there were cat trees everywhere.
Oh.
Everywhere. There was a cat tree, right? And then she said, "This is my room." And then it was a 2-bedroom, and we went to the other bedroom. The cats had their own room, their very own room. So there's cats. So anyway, I think we were going to it was wintertime. We went out to dinner. We were watching. You're not going to believe this. We were watching the Minnesota Vikings back in the day.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Back before the roof failed.
Yep.
So then we get home. It's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
Hopefully my mom's not listening because we're not married.
Yeah.
But we were going to spend the night together. We
Got
had
it.
determined. So anyway, brushed my teeth, got all ready,
Yeah.
and I like to do a little reading before I go to sleep. How
Who
about
doesn't?
you?
Who doesn't?
Yeah. So there was no scrolling for phones, though. There were no
Right.
phones. This is how long ago it was. If there's a phone, it's a brick phone, and you can't scroll through a brick phone. So anyway, I go to lay down. She's laying down. There might have been some affection. Maybe there's a little bit of affection. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's a family show. My mom might be listening, so you have to be careful. There might have been some affection. And then, so anyway, I began to lay down. I began to fall asleep. And the next thing you know, she had left the room and came back. Oh. And there was some rumbling at the bottom of the bed.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the bed and up by the pillow.
boy.
And what I noticed is the 3 cats that had their own room
Yeah.
had now joined us in it's not a marital bed. What would you call that? Whatever it is.
I'm afraid to say.
Remember, my mom's listening. So
Yeah.
so anyway, we lay down and so and I'm like, are they? I didn't know. I'm like, are they staying here? And there's one down there sleeping on my legs. The other one was sleeping between, and then the other one was above on the pillow.
So many questions.
And I started getting, I'd say 2-3 hours in, and the lights are out, and she has a fan on, and it's just blowing all this cat hair around, and I'm getting this cat hair in my mouth. Just this lots of cat hair. So finally I asked her, I said, hey, are they just here?
God.
Are they here visiting? One of his name was Herbie, by the way.
Herbie.
Is Herbie in are they just here visiting?
Is this cat gonna
She
stay
said, no,
here?
this is where they sleep at night. And I'm like,
Okay.
but I thought they had their own room.
Oh, yeah, you've got like cat trees.
She goes, you know what? I don't like your attitude.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
She goes, this is the way you have to look at it. 3 cats.
Yeah.
She goes,
I don't like your attitude.
you went to bed with 1 pussy and you woke up with 4 pussies. That's what she said. That's what she said. Can I say that? No. Pussycats. Yeah. Pussycats. Yes, pussycats. Anyway. So I went home and I've never been back. I have never been back to the state of Minnesota since then. So So what about you? Have you ever dated a girl where the dog or the cat was kind of maybe a big part of the relationship and maybe too much, or maybe you were the problem?
Boy,
Watch your language because my mother's listening.
Yeah. Well, I think it's too late for that.
I wish I made up. That's a great line of hers.
Well,
and she probably used it on some other guys before. Is what I'm thinking.
I don't know quite what to say.
What is your thought on that, though?
Fidgeting.
What is your thought on that? Do
I
you
think,
sleep with animals? Do you date women that sleep with animals? What are your thoughts?
I was always allergic to cats and dogs. I grew out of it.
Yeah.
And so one of my goals for 2026, I've never had a dog, and I really want a dog. And so one of my goals for 2026 is I want to get a blue Staffy.
Cool. Those are cool dogs.
And I'm going to name this blue Staffy Buster.
Yeah.
Buster Blue.
Okay.
Okay. And when I get Buster Blue, there's going to be no sleeping in the bed.
Yep. Good.
By the bed, but not on the bed. I dated somebody, this was a number of years ago, who had a dog, and the dog slept in the bed.
Yeah.
And it was a big dog. Mm-hmm. It was like Lab Great Dane mix.
Yeah.
And awesome dog. Loved that dog. Tragically passed away. Mm. And, it was a conversation, and I understood. It was like, you love your animal. And I wasn't surprised by that study.
Yeah.
It's because relationships, human emotion, it enters, and you're not going to get that from a pet.
Yeah.
So I imagine guards are down or lower. You're thinking less about, will this dog or cat disturb my sleep? Is this person going to wake up in the middle of the night and have a deep conversation? That you're not going to get that from a cat or a dog. So I wasn't terribly surprised by that study.
Yeah, the thing that we had rescue dogs before, and having a rescue dog is really hard when they haven't been trained well, and nobody wants to watch your dog when you're gone, and it was just a real mess.
Yeah.
So when my son decided that he wanted a dog, I actually talked to my therapist about it, and we would sit there in therapy, and her 2 dogs would be there, and they were wonderful, and you always wanted to be around them. She said, the important thing is in that first year, 18 months of the dog's life, spend a lot of time, learn how to train the dog. So I have a friend, his name is Charles, and in fact, Ron connected me with Charles. And Charles teaches hunting dogs. And he said, you may not teach Charlie to hunt, but at the same time, you're going to teach him to respect himself and to respect their environment, other dogs, and people around him. And then people are going to love to be around Charlie. So he gave me this book, and in this book, you start out and you go out and you buy this 30-foot orange cord. And then we would go out to Discovery Park. You learn to do all these things on the orange cord, and you keep cutting the cord. And by the time you get 18 months later to the 6-foot cord, they're now on their leash. That's their leash, and they should be fully trained. So Charlie's here right now. In fact, he's out in our camper van. Whenever I leave, people fight to watch Charlie because Charlie's such a good boy.
Dog, yeah.
And in our house, Charlie is allowed to sleep in the bed with Gunner because Gunner, that's the only piece of furniture he's allowed to sleep on. And he and Gunner have that relationship. But Charlie knows that he's never going to sleep in the bed with me.
Right.
But sometimes when people watch him, they'll let Charlie in the bed. And then when he comes home, sometimes he forgets that he's not allowed in my bed. So anyway.
I think your first warning was the 3 cat trees. I want to go back to that. And of course you didn't. I mean, it's really interesting because living in Seattle, being from Minneapolis, I can visually see this in the dead of winter in Minnesota. It's not awesome. And the 3 cat trees. But what do you do? Yeah. Do you get a hotel? Do you just write? Hey,
spin the topic with. Here we go.
Maybe I sleep on the couch
Don,
for the night.
I
don't know.
chime in here.
I just this is important.
Matt off the mic is on the mic.
Now on the mic, if you don't mind. So my wife, who's made it very clear that I will go before the dog goes. There's no question there. This 40-pound German Shepherd wakes me up. This happened this morning. It's happened to me before.
Yeah.
He wakes me up at 5 o'clock, let's say, or whatever, and I think, he's got to go out and go to the bathroom. Maybe, I don't know for sure. Of course, now I'm onto it. But so I get up and I start walking out, and he doesn't leave the bedroom. So I go to the bathroom and I come back, and he's laying basically on top of my pillow. And he got me up out of bed for one reason, just to take my spot. So that's my life.
See.
All right, let's spin the topic wheel real quick. We're spinning the topic wheel. Boom.
Spitting knowledge.
And there she goes.
Big money.
I say no whammies. You say big money.
Big money.
Would you like to buy a vial?
No.
Would you like to buy a Guinness?
No, I'm not a Guinness guy.
We just read this story.
Yeah.
at an Oasis concert. By
Yeah.
the way, they're back together.
Oasis.
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 After 17 years, the brothers that hate
Yeah.
each other love money more, because it still seems like they hate each other a little bit, right? So
I don't know.
So
I
anyway,
like Oasis.
Wembley Stadium, they're there. They say every night, and I think they're there for 3, 4, 5, 6 nights.
Sure.
They're packing
Yeah.
stadiums out. They said in these stadiums, they are selling over 250,000 pints of beer. I didn't believe
It's a lot
that,
to
but I
beer.
do have to say that my son and I just went to Ireland, just got home from Ireland.
Yeah.
And everywhere I went in Ireland, and we went in Ireland, it is really a pub culture, right?
Yeah.
There's a pub culture that's
Pub it
happening
up.
there. And everybody is drinking a Guinness. Everyone's having a Guinness. I remember back in the day I had a Guinness, and it's so dark and thick. And over there, it's pretty warm.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dark, thick, like coffee milkshake.
Something.
Yeah. So we even went, my cousin Debbie told me, you got to go to the Guinness factory. So we went on a tour there. There's no tour there.
No?
There's 7 floors.
Oh.
It's just 7 floors of pubs.
Okay.
And what they tell you is they give you a ticket in the beginning, and if you can get to the top, they'll give you a ticket and you get a free Guinness at the top. On it's a self-tour.
Oh, okay.
Every single floor that they went to, people were stopping and buying a Guinness, and then you get to the top and you get your 1 free Guinness, right?
Got it.
So
is the thing like you are you just drunk by the time you get to the top, or what?
I think you got to be. And there wasn't much to tour, so my son and
Okay.
we took off and we went on a bike ride. And I'm probably the only guy that ever went to Guinness and didn't have a Guinness, or the only guy that went to Ireland that I didn't have a. I don't drink much
That's
these
impressive.
days, so I didn't have a Guinness over
Yeah.
there. I do have to say though, like when you're in the pubs,
Yeah.
people there, and my son noticed this when we ate the food. The food there is not as processed. So the food there we found, and especially because there's so many cultures, and so they want, unlike the U.S. right now, they want immigration. So you get in your Uber, you might be talking to someone from South Africa.
Right.
Then you get in another car, you might be talking to someone from Nigeria. You get in another car, you're talking to a student from France. Everybody has a story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, when you get in your Uber here, they say, number 1, how would you like it? I like it cool. And number 2, would you like to have a conversation? And I'm like,
This is gonna
usually
be good.
I would not like to have a conversation.
This is gonna be good.
So I went to the Mariner game last night, and you sit there, it was nice and cool. We didn't have a conversation. You go over there, people don't give an F.
Yeah.
You are having
You're
a
having a conversation.
conversation
Yes.
wherever you go.
And people seldom ask you what you do for a living.
All the time. Yeah.
You're just like, it's not important.
It's not important, but so you're always having conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You're having wonderful food. You don't see people doing shots. I didn't see people really drunk off their ass. I didn't see people fighting. I see people driving like maniacs on the wrong side of the road, which is the right side of the road. But I thought I would see so many traffic accidents there. People on bikes are crazy. The whole thing, they're just at a different speed. And I think they're powered by Guinness. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
And they're much fitter than we are. I went to a Mariner game last night and I looked at everyone and I went, I read a story today. Most Americans, the calories that kids consume every day, 75% of it is processed food.
Yes.
And for adults, it's probably 50. And I'm sitting there last night after being over in Ireland, and then you come back and you see the shape
it.
that people are in. And then you come back here and you're like, wow, we are some big folks.
Yeah.
We are some big
Yes,
people.
yes.
Unlike when you look at pictures like of your mom and dad back in the day,
Back in the day.
or even the World War II, the Greatest Generation, people were
different.
really fit, right?
Yeah, food is-
Processed food.
It's very, very processed.
Yeah. So I think what
Well,
we need to
listen.
do, we need to have more conversation. We need to smoke more cigarettes because people smoke like crazy over there. Oh my gosh, they smoke.
Wasn't back in the day like cigarettes and Diet Pepsi?
Right.
Or Diet Pepsi and Dexatrim.
And
Remember that?
Sanka.
Sa-
Some Sanka or some Folgers
Tab.
and some Tab.
Tab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I don't know.
All right, let's spin the topic wheel one more
All
time.
right.
You ready? Here we go. And
I'm not surprised by that stat.
Spinning the topic.
All right.
And go.
We got to talk about bike lanes.
We have one more segment to talk about. All right, segment tariffs.
Tariffs, yeah.
Are tariffs showing up in your life? Yesterday, I had to replace at one of my rentals some smoke detectors.
Mm-hmm.
That smoke detector used to cost $29.95. Each smoke detector that I had to replace in this house was $123 for one smoke detector. I had to replace 6 of them yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
How about that? So anyway, don't have a fire at your house.
I'm not planning on it.
Tariffs are you seeing tariffs show up? In your life on a day-to-day basis?
Tariffs are affecting on a day-to-day basis. Not really. At BikeWorks, yes, in a different way.
Let's do this. We're going to come back,
come
talk
back to
about
that?
BikeWorks. Let's
Okay.
talk about tariffs. Let's talk about your 60th birthday party.
Okay.
It's the Ron and Don Show. Ed Ewing doing a beautiful job today, sitting in for Ron of the Ron and Don. We'll see you on the other side of this.
Ron and Don, from radio to real estate. When you're ready to grab a cup of coffee and sit down with the guys, go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Final segment. Ed Ewing filling in for Ron today. I really appreciate that. We're going to talk about tariffs and BikeWorks. Before we get out of here, what is BikeWorks?
Great question. BikeWorks has been in Columbia City since ~96. We are a nonprofit. A couple different parts of our work. We're best known for the bike shop, the Yellow House. That's kind of the heartbeat of Columbia City. And it's been there from '96. It's an old house. And we only sell used bikes, used parts. We have new parts like locks and lights and helmets and that sort of thing. But the sole mission of the organization is to get bikes and bicycling into the hands of people that really need it at a very affordable price. And we intentionally serve the south end of Seattle. And at one time, Columbia City was the most diverse zip code in the nation. And so a lot of the community depends on what we do. We don't turn anyone away. There's a lot of folks who depend on their bike for primary transportation. And so we provide a sliding scale of bike repair. We're still the lowest price in the city for parts and labor. And if you can't afford to have your bike repaired, we will fix your bike. We don't send anyone away. We provide youth and adult bicycle education, repair education. We have youth programs that are embedded in South End schools like Franklin and Cleveland and Rainier Beach. And we have a recycle and reuse part of our business that we process between 5,000 to 7,000 bike donations a year. So that's 5,000 or 7,000 bikes that people are either bringing to BikeWorks or we have a partnership with Seattle Public Utilities where they can drop it off at the Fremont station or the Georgetown station. We keep probably 30% of those bikes. And of the 30%, we either fix them up to be sold in the shop or we'll give them away to youth or we'll give them away to adults. And then the other 70% that we don't use, we work with a couple organizations that will fix those bikes up and send them to Africa. Or if the bike is just beyond repair, we work with Seattle Recycling and recycle the metal. So there's zero waste in our organization.
Awesome.
All the proceeds from our sales go right back into the organization. For staff salaries, healthcare. There's zero waste in the organization.
How are tariffs and also a lot of government programs we see, especially when it comes to even DEI programs, are being cut out or cut back? How is that affecting you guys at BikeWorks? We're
starting to feel it. BikeWorks, the foundation of our work is social justice and specifically racial equity. And so we are 100% diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's the way the organization was founded. It was the principles the organization was founded back in 1996. Of our staff, we are probably 65% of color. Our leadership team is 87% of color.
Beautiful.
Our board has the same demographics there, and that's intentional. And the communities what we serve, like White Center, Rainier Beach, the CD, Skyway, we are very intentional about that because that's where the greatest need is. That's where the greatest opportunity is. So 100% of our work and 100% of our mission is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's who I am as an individual, as a professional, and we're not backing away from that. In fact, we have doubled down on that. How it's affected our work is in two ways. We've lost a couple grants indirectly. We're not federally funded, but we've lost a couple grants because of that, probably about $250,000. On the flip side of that, we're unapologetic about what we do, who we are, who we represent, and so that has attracted people that are looking for organizations or looking for causes or looking for that initiative of moving towards this, not away from it. And so we're seeing a bump in our individual giving, and we're seeing a bump in the grants that we're applying for. And a lot of people are noticing what we're doing and asking questions and supporting in different ways.
When you see big corporations, when you see big law firms, when you see big universities say, well, to get our grants, we have to cut out these DEI programs. What do you tell your staff about that, and how does that personally feel to you as someone who's been an activist who just happens to be on a bike for decades? What does that feel like?
I tell staff the way I move through this is you do you. Let's continue to do what we do best. Let's continue to follow our mission. Let's continue to follow our hearts and who we are as individuals. At the end of the day, I am this color. At the beginning of the day, I am this color, and I will leave this earth this color. So I can't roll back myself.
Yeah.
And the folks in my organization, in Bikeworks, cannot roll back themselves because they are white allies, they are black, they are trans, they are Asian Americans, they're Pacific Islanders. That is the mix of our staff. And so for us, there's no choice but forward.
Yeah. What do you say to people? Because my mom's generation says this: we don't see color.
That's unfortunate. Because the beauty and the richness of the diversity and the conversations and the relatedness is in seeing that. When you see that, that's when, with a real relationship, the possibility.
I learned that from you because I was taught that in my household, and I used to say that.
To not see color is not see me.
Yeah, and you taught me that.
And it's very convenient because it's
very even Steven.
Yeah, it's very
We're even Steven.
Yeah,
we're over that. Yeah.
And it having that does two things. You miss the opportunity for education and learning and connected and relatedness. And it's also a way to dismiss and erase. And so a lot of what's happening in the country right now in these anti-DEI, let's just call it this, it's racist. It's anti-difference. It is racist to its core.
Yeah. Does this pendulum swing? Because a lot of decisions that have been made in this country have been made not by Congress, but they've been made by an executive's pen. And the next president can go in. Those are easy things to undo.
Right.
Because it didn't go before Congress. Do you see this pendulum swinging back, or
Yes,
you do?
Definitely. I'm a big believer in ML King and X. I'm also a believer in what King said, justice bends. And I'm also a believer in being unapologetic about who I am and that you're not going to erase us. This is not going away. It's going to come back even stronger. It's like, so I believe that the pendulum will swing back. It's going to be different. And I think that a lot of people are waking up to this, of how dangerous this is. And a lot of people are waking up to, a lot of white folks are waking up to this and going, shit.
Yeah. I encourage, there's a book out called In the Shadow Statues. Mitch Lander, who is the mayor of New Orleans, wrote it. And he used to think all the statues in New Orleans were amazing. And then one day, as mayor, the Marcellus brothers, who were neighbors with him, and he grew up with one of them, and they were best friends. He said, let me tell you what it was like for me to grow up in the shadow of the Robert E. Lee statue and the Beauregard statue. And so they started taking those down. We look around the country now, we see these statues going back up. We see forts being renamed back to their old names. When you look at that, 60,000 people marched in the streets here in Seattle during COVID, the Black Lives Matter movement. Then we go over to the other DC and we see the Black Lives Matter murals being erased. Hey, you want your money? You're going to jackhammer that shiznit out of the ground.
Shiznit.
How do you feel about that?
It's performative. I mean, yeah, it's performative. What's the guy's name? Pete Hegseth. That guy's a clown. I mean, how can you take that serious? And it's all performative, like the renaming of battleships, the renaming of bases, the renaming of whatever. It's all performative, and it's blatant racism.
Yeah.
And that too can be changed back to how it should be. The thing about it, I think a lot of folks that voted for the current administration are now figuring out, like, oh shit, This is not what we signed up for. And what I keep thinking of, the quote from Lyndon B. Johnson, if you can convince a poor white individual that they are better than the most well-educated black man or woman, you can pickpocket them every day. And that's exactly what's going on. Yeah. So the renaming of ships and bases and all that stuff, it's a distraction, and it's performative. And it's easy to correct that back. Or even the erasure of I don't know if this is the Air Force, but women Air Force pilots or women pilots, and erasing the accomplishments there. I mean, those things happen. You can't erase that. Yeah. It happened. Right. So it's performative. It's time stamped. It's not going to last, and it's going to swing back.
The red tails flew in World War II.
Yeah, exactly. It's like some of my friends' ancestries were red tails, or with Tuskegee Airmen. It's like that should happen.
It's interesting, and we'll close with this. It doesn't blow you away because you've seen this your whole life, and you can call it out. And I've learned this from you, and even some people in the sports world. They're like, hey, you know what? Some of this stuff we're just going to sit out. Black people have been standing up for black people our whole lives. It's time for some white people to stand up for what you see going on, especially with black and brown people. And we can talk about ICE, and everything else that we see in our communities. It's pretty disgusting.
Yeah. So. After the what was the latest protest? No Kings, the No Kings March a few months ago. Yeah. I mean, that was great to see. And on Monday morning, now what?
I wrote something, and I'll send it to you, and it's called No Kings, Really? And I went through and I named all the presidents that we treated as kings for a very long time.
It's like, now what? It's
Carter, not a king. The rest of them, Gerald Ford, he gave up his seat when he pardoned Nixon. He did it for the country. Probably not a king. But the rest of them, going all the way back to Kennedy and beyond, they've all been treated like kings. Yeah. Give me a break. So.
It's that was great to see that much energy and protest. And like I said, on Monday morning, now what?
Right.
How do we put this into action? How is it put into action? Who are allies? And what I'm also seeing is a lot of white allies who I thought were allies have peeled away.
I've seen that.
And it's like, that can happen. Yeah. And it's happened a number of times in my career. And what I've done, we talked about me turning 60 and the wisdom that I've acquired over the years is to manage expectations and to not let that pull me from my mission or the purpose of my work or the purpose of me being in my work.
Yeah. We got a minute here. Happy 60th to you.
Thank you.
80 people showed up.
Yeah.
You had some beers.
There was some beer.
Your brother came.
Yep.
What was it like having people come from all walks of your life and kind of intersecting together at your 60th? Because that's kind of what happened. You were telling me before the show started.
It was an amazing honor, and it was beautiful. I gave a speech at the party just to thank everybody. And I said to my brother, this is the life that your little brother has been building in Seattle for 37 years. And the people you see here is an expression of how mom and dad raised us. Because if you looked at the people that were there was black, there was white, there was gay, straight, trans, there was Asian, there was Latino. It was this rainbow coalition, and it really affirmed me. To me, the principles is how I live my life.
Yeah.
I feel very blessed to be able to do what I do, the life that I have, the abilities that I have right now. And I think about that every day. I think about, especially when I throw a leg over the bike to commute to work or to be in a bike race. I did a race down at Pacific Raceways last week, and I'm in the race, and I'm probably one of the 3 or 4 out of 50 people that are the oldest. And there's one other guy in there, Gordy, who's 72. And I'm like, that's the goal. That's the dream. So just keep going. So I celebrate every bike ride. I celebrate every friend. and I'm honored. And so, yeah, there was a lot of beer because I just gave the bartender my credit card, and I was like, stop this at $1,000. and we blew through that. And, I was like, people are like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, man, I appreciate your friendship and have a pint or two on me. And
Thanks for your friendship.
Yeah.
Thanks for everything you do in the community. Thanks for everything that you've taught me. Thanks for the laughs. Thanks for being on the front lines. Thanks for the Major Taylor Project. Thanks for Bike Works. And I'm here with you. I'm an ally that's never going to run. So I am with you, and I'm here to watch that pendulum swing back, and it will.
Yeah, it will.
It's going to swing back. So people need to stop hiding.
You stop hiding.
Yeah, you need to
Stop hiding.
stand up.
This is a time to be in it.
And when did diversity, equity, and inclusion, how can those three words be bad, sad words?
Yeah.
And if you're a white dude like me and you think you don't have privilege, look at our nation's history. Because even for me, growing up without a dad, 4 kids, mom working, I look at my life, and just because I was born white in the neighborhood that I was born in, with the family that I have, the education that was given to me, and even being a United States citizen when you travel abroad, you're like, that was something that really blew my son and I away. The privilege of that I have, we have to use that privilege and lift each other up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to lift each other up.
Exactly.
Ed, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you being here,
This was
man.
fun.
That was good. All right, you guys, thanks for listening to the Ron and Don Show. Don't forget, if you have a bike that you want to donate to Bike Works, you may be getting ready to sell your house, and maybe you run into a bike. How could they drop a bike off?
You can either come down to Bike Works at Columbia City.
Yep.
You have the bike shop, 3709 Ferdinand, or the warehouse, 3715 Hudson, or you can drop it off at the Fremont Transfer Station or the Georgetown Station as well.
Yeah. And if people want to get involved in the Major Taylor Project, or maybe they just want to get involved and say, hey, I want to give some cash to the organization, either Bike Works or Major Taylor, because I want to support these kids in the community, how can they do that?
You can go to 2 places. You can go to bikeworks.org or you can go to cascade.org and donate.
Yeah. Thanks for sitting down with me today. How about that?
It's
A
fun.
Ron and Don sit down, and Ed actually came in and sat down today.
Still thinking about those 3 cats, though.
Matt, thank you. Ed, thank you. Ron, thank you. Hope he's having a great time in Spain today. I want to thank my son, who's the station voice. And don't forget, coming up on our next show, Jim Dever's going to stop by. In fact, he's calling right now. Hey, Jim, I'm coming down to get you, okay?
Yeah, I'm at the elevator. Is
Okay.
that right?
Yeah, I'm coming down right now. Okay, over now.
Okay.
Okay, see you.
Okay.
Yeah, so Jim Dever on the next show.
That was Jim.
That was Jim Dever. Until next time, you keep your head up and your shoulders back. And don't forget, you've been listening to The Ron and Don Show all night on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Well, that's it. Show's over. We'll see you next time on the Ron and Don Radio Network.